Video marketing is in this really unique space right now where I feel like it's finally starting to catch up and make a lot more sense for business owners to make an investment and also get the long-term results. And I think there's one really big disruptor that's made a huge difference that has a lot of pros and cons. And I think that comes down to content creators. You know, the truth is, I think so many business owners are sitting here and wondering, how do I invest in video marketing? How do I make it as effective as possible? Like anything, when we invest, we want to make sure that investment pays off. We want to make sure that there is going to be a return on investment. The problem is I think we don't think about video marketing necessarily the right way. And I think there's a lot of things to unpack, really coming from the perspective of how do I make this investment? How do I make it worth my time? How do I make it something that I can continue to do? It really comes down to the old ways of marketing was always so focused on one video at a time, putting a bunch of money into it. And the online space is exploding. And more now than ever, it is a game of content and volume, but I think it makes a big difference when we have the right content, the right focus, the right voice. And I think content creators are one of these special things that has disrupted the industry for better or worse. And I think now it's taking the time to have some critical thinking and think about, how do I market my business? Really make it something that is a norm rather than something that we experiment with from time to time. I think one of the main things that we've always tried to do is get people in the right mindset. I see video marketing as a very reactive mindset. Maybe your competitor's doing video. And this is great for creating some action of saying, I got to do this thing. I got to jump on the train. But let's have some strategy with this. Let's not just be reactive. Let's not fall victim to shiny item syndrome. How can I be proactive? How can I make this something that is a part of our strategy, not just something that we experiment with? Or if we do experiment with it, how do we experiment with it in a safe way that we can continue to maintain and tweak and pull some levers and knobs to make it actually work for our business and maintain that effectiveness? Social media has created so many jobs, so many opportunities. And when I think about content creation, it can have a negative stereotype, but I've kind of always seen the way we do things as content creation. I think there's always this divide of when we hear content creators as a creative service, we see content creators oftentimes as a negative thing of like, oh, they don't understand storytelling, they don't put quality into it. And I don't think that's true. And I think there's really like the pro side of it is brands do need consistency. And I think this word can be defined a lot of ways. So when I think about content creation, the best thing that they do is they're making content and they're making more consistently and they're making people more successful in that sense. On the flip side, where I can see content creation as the negative side of things is when it is focused just on the volume and churning out that content and it misses the mark on consistency in the voice and in the storytelling. What I really see as the big issue is tactics versus strategy. And I think this is the biggest difference. When we think about tactics, we're thinking about the platform. We're thinking about the trends. We're thinking about the things that are working from a viral standpoint. This is obviously effective. It makes a big difference and it is something to consider. But when we think about your brand and its purpose and its voice, this is the consistency we should be focusing on before we go to the platform, before we go to the publishing, before we go to the trends. What is your voice? What do you stand for? What's working really well in your business? How can you take that and turn that into content that's consistently being released? That's strategic thinking. Before we go out there and we build this house, are we building it in the right place? Do we have the right foundation? Or are we just building things because we want attention? We want the right attention. We want the right customers. It's for you to control your narrative, to control your story. And this is where I think the balance really comes into play. You have video production teams who want to do high quality, amazing work. This is where we get into that one video mentality. We have content creators who are preaching, push out content, go off trends. And I think there's really somewhere in between that makes the biggest difference. How do we take your story, we find the characters, we figure out the objectives, and then we apply that to multiple pieces of content? When we think about one video versus multiple videos, it's really easy to say multiple videos is the solution. And when we think about high quality production, it's really easy to say, no, one video makes a lot of sense. Neither side is right or wrong. What I think is important is if you're a business owner, what are some of your objectives? What do you really want your business to stand for? How do you want to build trust? How do you want to bring people in. And I think this is looking at, prospects versus engaged leads and your customers. Different segments are going to need different efforts, different types of video, different types of content to nurture those leads, to build those relationships, to earn trust. So when we think about multiple videos, we need to think about what are the objectives, how are those things going to kind of work together to build those relationships now and into the future. The biggest hesitation to working with a higher quality video production company is, hey, it is expensive. Depending on what kind of business you are, you're going to have a different budget. Most of the clients that we're working with, they're working with $10,000 to $100,000 a year in marketing budgets. When I think about smaller to medium-sized businesses, I'm really trying to say, how do we reverse engineer that budget to give you longer term content, allow you to market longer, to play it safe, and to build up some of that trust equity through your marketing efforts. We have to think, what is the objective of these videos? What do these videos need to say? Who do we need to be targeting as the audience? And even organic, it really is asking a lot of questions, and it's figuring out, what is the voice of your brand? How do we bring that to life? And how do we mimic what's already working for you in the online space? Maybe there are some things that you're already doing. Maybe there's some things that you're not doing at all. But it's so hard until we get clear on what we really want. What is that objective? And how do we market the smartest way possible? When we get smarter, it gets less expensive. It gets less intimidating, and it builds more confidence in saying, yeah, let's try this video marketing thing out. What opportunities am I missing? What could I be doing better in my business? This is going to be the starting place for asking better questions and producing better content, whether it's DIY or whether it's working with a professional or somewhere in between like a content creator. Let's not focus on what video we need to make as much as let's listen, let's ask better questions. And when I ask my partners better questions, I'm able to deliver a better video content strategy. Maybe it is one video we need to focus on, but usually it's a variety of videos that all serve different purposes in your marketing strategy. One of my favorite examples was working with Twirl Bridal. When we started working with them, the main video that we were focused on was a brand film. We wanted to really capture the heart of the business. But the way that we kind of discovered a little bit more was through a brand story workshop. We sat down with the whole team and we asked them about their business. We got clear on what their core values were. We got to hear some of the customer stories that they loved. When you're thinking about marketing your business, it really starts with what you're already doing really well. It's uncovering some of those stories. And when we went through that workshop, we were able to get multiple perspectives. Not everyone is excited about marketing their business or sees the purpose in video. And I think as a founder, it's easy to say, oh, we should be doing this marketing thing. I can see the vision. But how you really make that vision as strong as possible is bringing the whole team in on the same page, getting them all excited about what the vision, what the potential, and how this doesn't just help marketing, but it helps sales. So when we walked through that workshop, we not only figured out the story beats for this brand film, we also found, hey, customer testimonies. You have a ton of those. There's all these amazing customer experiences that your team is creating. Let's bring those in and turn those into client testimonial films. Now we can share that and we can make the impact, and we can attract more of those customers through educating them, through showing them how amazing the customer journey is that you're creating time after time. If you create this amazing experience, why aren't we highlighting that experience more and more? Now, another layer was there's all these unique quirks that they had. So a thought leadership series, microfilms. We thought this would be a great way to humanize the brand, to be able to showcase who the team is, the mentality around the business. It's not just getting one video right. In one production, we could produce multiple pieces of content that all serve this goal of building more trust and doing it in a long-term way. We were able to sit down in one meeting and figure out, hey, we're going to do this brand film. We have 3 client testimonials we can do. And this thought leadership series, we were focused on producing 20 films. We ended up producing 60 plus films, and they've been able to market themselves for a year plus, humanizing the experience and building more of a relationship online that matches what it's like in real life. For me, what I love the most about being in the position that I'm in, we're not just doing video production. We're educating our customers on the power of video marketing. We're bringing teams closer together. We're helping them discover, refine, and produce content around their brand voice that allows them to align with their potential customers, to create engaged leads, to take these cold prospects to engage leads, and to give the past customers something to be proud of in this business. Finding that voice is such a gift, but it's also something that's really fun when we give over this content and the people we're working with, whether it's a marketing team or a founder, starts to see, hey, we can actually market our business better. We can feel confident about marketing it. When you're sitting here and you're thinking about video marketing, there's so many different film types. You can run a paid ad. You can do organic marketing. You can start off really safe and small. You can do some big initiative. I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it comes down to where are you? What do you feel most confident in? How do you want to build that online relationship? And do that in a way that feels healthy and sustainable, not just reactive and exciting.